All right, I'm going to play something else, Max.
85% of those countries, people in those countries when polled, believe that it's okay to kill civilian Jews and that it's okay and that Israel has no right to exist. And their purpose is to destroy Israel and to exterminate the Jewish people. Now, Israel.
Where did he get that poll from?
I don't know.
85% believe it's okay to kill Jews. And he constantly conflates all the world's Jews with Israelis, with Israelis, which is what I'm not saying he's an anti-Semite. I'm just calling out this flawed logic, which conflates Jews with Israelis, because anti-Semites do that in order to hold all Jews responsible for Israel's crimes. So it's very dangerous rhetoric that I don't think he understands. I don't think he understands the danger of it.
But deliberately
presenting everyone around Israel as just a genocidal terrorist, and he wants to be the peace candidate. So I guess there's no hope for any peace negotiations. He's just writing off negotiations there, and he's signing on to Israel's policy of permanent war with the entire region.
Very targeted. So civilians do get killed, but for example, in Jenin, in the recent battle over Jenin is a bomb factory. It's terrorist bomb factory. But Israel, unlike Russia, which when they have areas like that in Chechnya, or the United States and Iraq.
Stop for a second.
We bomb the whole.
He keeps mispronouncing Chechnya like he's never heard of it.
I know. It was weird that he mispronounced Chechnya.
It's like how in his Shmuley event he referred to hijabs, which Muslim women wear commonly, including in the United States, where he should be seeking their votes. He refers to them as Habibs, which demonstrates like a complete lack of contact with Muslims or Arabs. So here he refers to Jenin as a bomb factory. I mean, it's just sickening rhetoric that there are no people there. Anything Israel wants to do to this city filled with people, including thousands and thousands of refugees who've been dispossessed, who live in just miserable poverty that he can't even imagine, that they just whatever happens to them, they deserve, because they're not civilians. And then I don't even think that Israel is alleging that Jenin is a bomb factory. The problem that Israel has with Jenin is that the Palestinian Authority, its occupation subcontractor, is unable to control the population there. They've started to form armed resistance militias, which are attacking Israeli occupation soldiers as well as settlers. And they actually put up pretty strong resistance to Israeli military incursions. So you have an occupied population resisting its occupier with arms. That's why Israel went in with 2,000 soldiers. And then he proceeds to tell more falsehoods from here.
Right. Because, we're not going to send troops in there who are going to die protecting people.
You're saying Israel does. I know I've covered stories where they bombed schools.
Well, but not never deliberately.
Oh, yes.
Oh, in war.
So I don't know what else I could say to that. I don't know what else I could say. I've covered stories where they deliberately bombed schools. I know this. I've covered it. And he just says, no, not on purpose. And then he's going to say war happens, right? Bad things happen.
Listen,
yes, that's not true.
Yeah, it is. Israel,
of course
the idea, listen, the IDF, Colonel Camp was one of the top military experts in the world.
I've covered these stories.
Well, I understand. And
like, I don't know what else I was supposed to say to him. I don't know. I've covered this story. That's just not true.
Yeah.
I don't know am I supposed to scream at him? I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but that's just not true.
Yeah. It's collateral damage, Jimmy. They don't want to do it. It just happens because they're, military's hiding out in these schools. And what are you going to do? It's collateral damage.
You can't bomb a goddamn prison, which is what they keep doing. Okay.
Maybe somebody, I'm saying it's a policy. Of course, in war, stuff happens. And you may.
So that's what he's saying. They bomb schools because it's war and stuff happens. No, that's not what happened. So, I know this because I've covered these goddamn stories, and so
you showed them. They destroyed a hospital there. They ran bulldozers through the center of town. They ran tanks through the refugee camp.
Why are there refugee camps in the first effing place? Tell me. I should have said that. Yeah. Why are there refugee camps in the first place? What is that? Why are there refugee camps?
Well, he said they let the Palestinians stay, so
Yeah.
that means there's no reason for there to be refugees. But and then he says they didn't kill any civilians. Hundreds of people were wounded. Thousands had to evacuate. And while there were people killed by Israel who belonged to these armed militias, which aren't allowed to resist their occupation, according to him, because there's no occupation. They just like to kill Jews. They're just doing it because they just want to run around and kill Jews everywhere.
Yeah.
There was also at least one boy who was unarmed who was killed. But why even bother nickel and diming this stuff? The real issue is that Robert F. Kennedy denies that Palestinians are occupied. And the only reason they do anything violent is that they're just anti-Semitic Nazis. So he's calling an entire population anti-Semitic. It's like nothing happened to them. Why are they so mad?
Okay.
For some reason, though, I don't want to even continue debunking all this. It's
okay. All right.
I just want to say a few more things, and that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Because it's like, where are we even at here? Like 8 minutes or something?
I know, it's too much. That's what I'm saying. There was such a wall coming at me, like, holy cow. Go ahead.
Well,
it's all propaganda. That was all propaganda. That was like 15-year-old talking point propaganda stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says that he's embracing his family's legacy here on Israel. First of all, Teddy Kennedy was wrong. Back when he ran against Jimmy Carter in '79, he supported Israeli settlement activity and supported everything that the Likudnik government of Menachem Begin wanted to do then in order to raise pro-Israel money. And Teddy Kennedy was heavily supported by AIPAC. He was one of AIPAC's favorite Democrats. So I don't see what there is to be proud of there. I think there's a lot to be proud of that Teddy Kennedy did. His convention speech was a great speech against inequality. His opposition to Bush's war in Iraq, the speech he gave in the Senate on America's gulags like Abu Ghraib was incredibly heroic. His stance on Israel is not something to be proud of. And I felt like it was tragic watching Robert Kennedy Jr. seated with a Cretan, across from a Cretan like Shmuley Boteach, this race-hustling former reality show fake rabbi, as he used the official version of his father's assassination by Sirhan to implicate all Palestinians, when I know Robert F. Kennedy Jr. doesn't believe the official version, that some mad Palestinian just shot his father because he signed a weapons deal or supported a weapons deal for Israel. He doesn't believe that. He's passionate about opposing the official version of that. So why would you let this clown just get up there and spout a version of history that's so personal to you that isn't even true? I have questions about that. And I mean, then we have JFK's own problems with Israel, warning about Israel getting a nuclear program, for example, calling for Jerusalem to be an international city. JFK was not the staunch ultra-Zionist. He was not anything like today's Democratic politicians. And then finally, one of the proudest legacies of the Kennedy family is supporting the civil rights movement. And one of the things that was always at the center of their messaging, whether it was JFK or RFK Sr., was that justice delayed is justice denied. And when justice is denied, that's when violence enters. And that if Black Americans were going to be denied their civil rights and their basic rights, they would have nowhere to turn than to more radical leadership that was urging violence, urging the organization of kind of like armed self-defense militias against racist white cops. They always understood that. So why are Palestinians different when they've been denied not only civil rights, but the most basic human rights that anyone could possibly have to even own land? They're denied every possible right. They're denied the right to have rights. So why wouldn't they turn to violence? So I really want to question where Robert Kennedy Jr. is embracing his family's legacy here? Is it the wrong part of that legacy or the right part? Because I think there's a right part that he can embrace that will allow him to unite Americans, including Arab Americans, Palestinian Americans, Muslim Americans, but the growing base of Americans who understand that what Israel's doing is wrong, and to give Palestinians hope that someone is cutting against the consensus of the Beltway duopoly, the uniparty on this issue, that someone isn't in the tank for AIPAC or the Adelson family. And so I don't know if he still has that opportunity here. He's gone really far down the rabbit hole. I fear that he might have fallen into a rat's nest with Shmuley and Morton Klein, but it's never too late to get out of there. If you were wrong about Russiagate and you're willing to admit it, then just step back, talk to some Palestinians, go see the wall, do what a version of RFK Sr.'s poverty tour in Appalachia, the RFK Jr. apartheid tour in Israel-Palestine, and talk to Israeli dissidents, just like you talk to American dissidents on COVID and other issues. Talk to Israeli Jewish dissidents who have gone to jail rather than go into an occupation army. I know some young people in Israel who have gone to jail over 5 times rather than participate in that army. Talk to them.